For a long time, we were anxious to arrange for an interview with Edward Steichen, America's foremost photographer, now retired. Finally, we were successful, and he invited us with our own candid motion picture camera to visit his studio while he was at work. It didn't take long to find Steichen's studio early the next morning, and the push of his doorbell led us into the large workshop. It was already busy as a hive, with electricians moving cables, spotlights, floodlights, reflectors, and other numerous lighting equipment with which the studio was well supplied. Off in a corner, Steichen was also occupied with instructing his model, a dancer. While the photographer explained, the dancer tried to interpret his directions into action and performed what in Steichen's mind was right. Just before the final setup, Steichen sees that everything is prepared to his satisfaction. A highlight here, a spotlight there, an overhead flood, a ground reflector, and his stage set against a plain backdrop is all that's necessary to make his setting complete. One thing is missing. There she is. Steichen leads his model to the set and places her in proper position. Another touch is necessary to give the picture the illusion of motion, and an ordinary electric fan does the trick. Her wispy costume seems to be blowing in the wind. Of such simple ingredients are the illusions of pictures made. Yet these apparently simple factors are an outcome of long experience with materials as well as with people. After the mechanics have been attended to, Steichen peeks into the ground glass of his camera, throws the hood over his head, and then continues to direct his model in movement. Click goes the shutter, change plate, and click again, as assistant and master work with the confidence, assurance, and accuracy which comes from knowledge and experience. Our model takes a moment for relaxation as a new setting is prepared. New arrangement of lights and a new effect is desired. Our dancer responds quickly to the easy and intimate directions of Steichen. Long experience has taught Steichen how to get most out of his model in the simplest and most pleasant way, whether that model be a world figure in politics and finance or the most temperamental actress, and he has photographed them all. The names of his subjects read like a roster of who's who in the world of science, art, sport, and diplomacy. In a moment of excitement, our master becomes tangled in the cables and exhibits a little temperament himself. But that's permitted. An accurate knowledge of composition, film emulsion, light and shadow, lenses and developing solutions gives Steichen the tools with which he creates. The rest are those intangible qualities which are possessed by all great artists, the ability to interpret life and the things in life through a medium with which he is thoroughly familiar. commercial world knocked on his door, and Steichen began to sell his pictures for high prices. It didn't matter what the subject was, as long as the results were beautiful, and they were. Once again, there is a change of lighting effect. The grid overhead houses the huge spotlights with which Steichen controls his lighting. A new costume for our dancer model and a new pose. Steichen explains briefly what he wants done, and she quickly responds. As she moves gracefully, he watches carefully for the exact position he wants. And snap goes the shutter. Before proofs are made, a negative must be perfect, and his experienced eye detects any flaws. Brighten it here, darken it there, another touch, and the assistant has his final instructions. Steichen has had a checkered career as painter, photographer, and horticulturist. Back in 1898, when photography hadn't yet come into its own, Steichen first exhibited his photographs, but he had already established himself as a talented painter. In 1902, 2 of his paintings were shown at the Paris Salon, and he almost broke the rigid rules of the art connoisseurs by having some of his photographs exhibited. Back in the early days of the century, Steichen's studio at 291 Fifth Avenue in New York became the headquarters for the photo secession movement called 291. In those days, the art world was topsy-turvy. Was photography art? Some said yes, and some said no. Today, there is no question about it. Photography is an art, and Steichen is an artist. Laying the proofs before him, he is easily able to select the best results. Mounted, these photographs prove to be the masterpieces they really are. And so we leave Edward Steichen, master of the camera, after a good day's work, alone with his picture studies.